también es del grupo de blockchain, está haciendo un desarrollo para la Cámara Argentina de la Construcción, y Javier Escodelaro. No sé, les pediría que si se puede presentar cada uno. No sé, Javier, si querés empezar vos, te manejás el canal de YouTube, porque yo acá hago de que arranque, animémonos y vayan, ¿no? Javier, ¿estás por ahí? Buenísimo, Javier, y te pregunto, ¿ya empezaste con la transmisión en YouTube? Ah, buenísimo. Bárbaro. Buenísimo. Luis Cafferatta, coordinador de blockchain, no sé si querés presentarte y después continúas vos con esta actividad, ¿no?
Ok. Sí, Ariel. ¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes a todos y gracias por estar aquí. Bueno, el tema de blockchain ya hace un par de años que lo venimos encarando acá en el Centro de Graduados. Ariel Alegre, el ingeniero Ariel Alegre, empezó con los cursos allá por el 2018. Yo fui uno de sus alumnos y, bueno, a mí este tema me interesó desde ya, ¿no? Debido a todo el tema de lo que es los contratos inteligentes y todo el tema de la seguridad, que es por lo que más uno siempre, por lo menos entiendo yo, busca acceder a esta tecnología. Así que yo no sé cuáles son las expectativas un poquito de ustedes. Me gustaría escucharlos, algunos de ustedes.
No, pero Luis,
están acá.
Luis,
Sí.
no, sí, buenísimo, pero arranquemos, porque si no, no empezamos con los materiales. O sea, para eso está la comunidad, está el grupo de WhatsApp, para que todos se presenten y comenten, intercambien, ¿sí?
Bueno, fenómeno.
Dale.
Bueno, vamos a arrancar con un pequeño video.
Ahora viene Hernán Nazar.
Bueno, listo, fenómeno.
Dale. Hernán.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Mi nombre es Hernán Nazar. Yo estoy encarando, yo realicé el curso con Ariel cuando comenzaron los primeros cursos de blockchain y ahora estamos realizando la plataforma para la Cámara Argentina de la Construcción. Es un desarrollo que ya lleva un tiempo y a su disposición para lo que precisen.
Buenísimo, bárbaro, Hernán. Y Agustín, no sé si querés presentarte, que vos también estás con lo de la cámara y contar un poco.
Bueno, cuento un poco sobre mí. Al mundo blockchain yo llegué de una gran coincidencia. Yo estaba trabajando en la Secretaría Legal y Técnica de Presidencia y en ese entonces, desde NICAR, que es una de las dependencias de la Secretaría, salieron con la iniciativa de tener una blockchain totalmente hosteada en Argentina. Una gran coincidencia terminó que yo fui el encargado de todos los desarrollos que fueron iniciados del lado de la Secretaría, siendo la TCA que hace las firmas de las publicaciones de Boletín Oficial y el Faucet que da saldo a los que quieran usar la red. Esa es mi experiencia principal y ahora estoy ayudando con Hernán al proyecto de la Cámara a hacer un sistema descentralizado de certificaciones de cursos.
Bueno, buenísimo. Entonces, básicamente, ese es un conjunto de 4 cursos. Nosotros, como les decía, esto lo venía ofreciendo en forma totalmente gratuita o cursera, pero como ahora ya llegó un límite, lo que vamos a hacer nosotros, vamos a contratar algo que se llama Plantín, que compramos 5 licencias que cuesta $2.000, y la idea es que como las licencias son rotativas, todos los que hagan el curso y vayan haciendo los ejercicios van a poder certificarse. La idea es que sea un arancel bajo, ¿sí? Y Blockchain Revolution es algo hecho por la Universidad ahí dice, no me acuerdo ahora, está hecho con el Blockchain Institute, está hecho con Coursera y hay una universidad, pero no me acuerdo ahora la universidad. No sé, ustedes no se acuerdan. No, pero es una universidad también. Perdón, se me fue
INSET,
la universidad.
Creo que es el nombre.
¿Cómo?
El instituto es INSET, la universidad no la tengo acá presente.
Blockchain Revolution. Sí, ahora va a aparecer el decano. Así que bueno, básicamente lo que les quiero decir es que esto es una posibilidad de acceder a los mejores cursos, digamos, de las mejores universidades, ¿sí? Y eso es interesante. Y bueno, nosotros, como la idea es que también vamos a ir complementando, pues nosotros ya venimos trabajando, acá está. Blockchain Research Institute y, bueno, justo no encuentro la universidad, pero ahora lo vamos a ver. Así que arrancamos, ¿sí? Hay un grupo de WhatsApp, así que se pueden conectar ahí a través del grupo de WhatsApp. Vamos a tener calls y, bueno, va a haber una comunidad donde van a poder participar y colaborar. Y como les decía, la idea es que todos se puedan certificar a través de este sistema de licencias rotativas, abonando un arancel accesible y además, bueno, vamos a hacer un curso también sobre esto, ¿no? Así que, bien, vamos a arrancar. ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿Algún comentario? Bueno, arrancamos entonces.
Blockchain technology.
¿Se escucha bien? ¿Se ve bien? ¿Algún comentario técnico? ¿Todos acceden bien al material? Que si alguno puede contestar por acá por el chat, le agradezco.
It has profound impact.
Todo ok. Ah, bueno. Bien, entonces arrancamos. Ahora sí. Bien, adelante.
For every business, every aspect of our lives. And I'm not just talking about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. It's much bigger than that. It's about the power and the potential of the underlying technology platform. Now, that's not to say that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are unimportant. They and other digital assets will be critical in many uses, and also to the bigger picture, the peer-to-peer exchange of value, like money, securities, intellectual property, and even the data in our identities. And that's why banks everywhere are looking at their business opportunities when it comes to blockchain. But it is not just banks that are going to benefit from this technology. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for different ways to build a new business, or an artist or a musician looking for new ways to make a living off your creations, or an immigrant who's sick of paying high fees to send money to your family in your country of origin. Maybe you're a consumer who wants to know where that romaine lettuce really came from, or an aid worker who needs to identify the titles of landowners so you can rebuild their homes after an earthquake, or a citizen fed up with the lack of transparency and accountability of your government leaders. Blockchain is a tool for protecting your privacy, your security, and your property rights. If you think all the data you generate might actually be worth something and you should maybe get paid for it, then we've got good news for you. As we see here today, innovators all over the world are building blockchain-based apps for each of these goals, and they're just beginning. Now, there is a lot of hype around blockchain. As with any disruptive technology, there are many different sources of information. Trying to learn about blockchain can sometimes feel like drinking water from a fire hose. We believe, though, that those who understand the underlying design principles of blockchain will have a better shot than those that don't. And that is why we created this specialization, Blockchain Revolution for the Enterprise. Hello, I'm Don Capscott, and I'm Alex Capscott, and we're co-authors of the book, Blockchain Revolution, how the technology behind Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is changing the world. We're also co-founders of the Blockchain Research Institute. global organization based in Toronto, Canada. And we have a diverse group of experts doing research on this blockchain technology. We're coming up with new ideas, using blockchain to solve all kinds of problems, including some of the world's most intractable challenges, like climate change, widespread economic insecurity, and others. And we're happy to be partnering with INSEAD, one of the world's leading and largest graduate business schools, on this first-of-a-kind specialization. And the goal of our partnership is to share what we've learned with you. We're using our book, Blockchain Revolution, as a core text, and we're using the new edition, the new paperback edition. The internet took off because of the many common interests of its key stakeholders. Stakeholders like governments, civil society organizations, technologists, companies, and people like you. The blockchain revolution requires leaders too, and perhaps you can be one of them. In this specialization, you're going to learn what blockchain is, how it works, and what makes this technology so revolutionary. We are going to teach you about the various categories of crypto assets and the way they can be transacted on a blockchain. You will understand how this technology is disrupting business models and financial services, offering organizations real choices in how they create and manage value. Finally, you're going to take all of this knowledge and do something that we call a blockchain opportunity analysis. You'll identify a specific problem in your own industry or your own organization that you want to solve using blockchain technology. And you can use this analysis to pitch your idea to your own organization or even to potential investors. These are exciting and perilous times. We expect a period of volatility, speculation, and even some misuse. But if we all get this right, we will fundamentally change business and society for the better, transforming how we interact online, how we exchange value, and importantly, who gets to participate. If we get it wrong, this technology could become a tool for vested interests to further gather wealth, data, and influence. Or worse, it could become a platform for some new surveillance society. So rather than predicting a blockchain future, we're advocating for one. We're arguing that this technology should succeed because it could help us usher in a new era of prosperity. We believe the economy works best when it works for everyone. And ultimately, our message is about prosperity for all. We're excited about the wave of innovation underway, and we're delighted that you're joining us. We have a lot of ground to cover in our time together. So hang on to your seats and let's do this.
Bueno, hoy vamos a tratar de llegar a cubrir toda la primera semana del primer curso. Recuerden que son 4. Este es un curso, digamos, que apunta mucho a entender la tecnología y al potencial económico y social que tiene. Nosotros tenemos 2 cursos más, que la idea nuestra es con el grupo que se arme compartir esa información. Uno es un curso que apunta mucho a la tecnología, cómo desarrollarlo de base con Python, que tenemos todo el código hecho, todo armado, y el otro es sobre Smart Contracts, que es en lo que trabajan Agustín, Luis y Hernán. Así que, bueno, un poco la idea es formar un grupo, por eso nos gustaría escucharlos, el que quiera escribir algo, adelante, y para eso está el grupo de WhatsApp. Probablemente pongamos algún día a la noche, que hay quizá más posibilidad de que venga más gente en la semana, pero eso lo coordinan con Luis Cafferatta, ¿sí? Así que, bueno, cualquier pregunta a las órdenes, y prenden el micrófono, escriben en el chat y seguimos avanzando. Pero vamos a tratar de ver si hoy podemos completar la primera semana, ¿sí? Seguimos.
Hello, I'm Peter Zemsky, Deputy Dean of INSEAD and Dean of Innovation. I'm really pleased to welcome you to this blockchain specialization. Today, digital transformation is ubiquitous. Waves of new digital technologies from blockchain and IoT to AI and robotics present innovative and often disruptive possibilities across really every sector of the economy and every business function. Yet these technologies also present unprecedented challenges for enterprises and for society more generally. At INSEAD, as the business school for the world, we ask ourselves, how can we help individuals and enterprises best confront these challenges and responsibly seize the opportunities? How can our dynamic entrepreneurial school help to bring about long-term growth and sustainable change? We increasingly believe solutions to social challenges will come from business innovation fueled by digital technologies. With our team of renowned and diverse faculty members, our unmatched international viewpoint, thanks to our presence across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, and the diversity of our global community, we're in a unique position to explore this period of unprecedented transformation. Blockchain, in particular, offers amazing possibilities for reimagining the structure of individual markets, whole industries, and business organizations. I'm impressed with the dynamic, creative, and thoughtful community that has grown up around this technology globally. This is why we've partnered with Coursera and Don Tapscott to bring to you this specialization, to explore the rise and impact of blockchain on business and society. Through this series of courses in this specialization, you're going to learn how a blockchain works, its applications, and its implications for industries and organizations. At INSEAD, we're deeply committed to the skillful application of the tools and concepts we teach. That's why in the specialization, we're bringing to you leading blockchain practitioners, individuals who are out there in the industry, getting their hands dirty, solving problems using the blockchain. Together with me, you'll meet blockchain practitioners from around the world. Listen to their stories on what it means to take blockchain to business and learn from the challenges they face, successes they see, and advice they share. I'm truly delighted to set off on this learning journey together with you.
Bien, esto sería como la presentación institucional. Ahora vamos a una introducción del curso y ya entramos en materia, ¿no? Hay exámenes, preguntitas, que siempre está bueno hacerlas en grupo, discutir un poco, ¿no? Así que, por favor, les pido que vayan comentando en el chat sus impresiones, sus ideas, si les interesa participar en un curso por la noche que va a coordinar Luis.
For 4 decades, we've had the Internet of Information, the Internet that most of us use today. And this Internet vastly improved the flow of data in our economy, but it hasn't really changed how we do business. And that's because the Internet was designed to move information from me to you, person to person. It wasn't designed for us to move assets like money to each other, at least not without a bank between us. Think about it. If you upload a photograph to Twitter or Weibo or VK, you're really uploading a copy. The original remains on your smartphone or camera. Anyone can copy it, Photoshop it, post it on their social media. But we can't email money to each other, not just because copying money is illegal. As the 1993 New Yorker cartoon says, on the internet, no one knows you're a dog, or for that matter today, a thief. So we go through intermediaries like banks to confirm each other's identities. Banks verify we are who we say we are, and we own what we say we own. They help us transfer assets between us. They clear and settle payments. They keep records, and they also charge us fees. And their big centralized databases are vulnerable to hackers. They capture our data, they slow things down. And bankers will be the first to admit that we need a new way forward. That way forward is blockchain. It's a platform for exchanging digital assets peer-to-peer, from me to you. That's why we call it the Internet of Value. Hello, I'm Don Tapscott. Welcome to the course, Introduction to Blockchain Technologies. We designed this course to introduce you to what blockchain is, how it works, and why we think it's so revolutionary. you'll learn key concepts such as mining, hashing, proof of work, public key cryptography, and the double spend problem. You'll be able to describe how blockchain works, the principles behind it, and the challenges facing the people developing it. And you'll be able to explain how it will transform business and society. But before we dive into these exciting lessons, in the next video, I'm going to share with you some more details about me and my career, and also introduce you to my co-instructor, Alex Tapscott. We're going to explain why we're so passionate about this technology.
Bueno, entonces básicamente el tema es que Internet es algo maravilloso, pero que se ha hecho para intercambiar información, no para poder enviar valores. Y justamente blockchain viene a ser una capa que se suma a eso, que permite justamente esto, la posibilidad de compartir valores sin que haya un intermediario, ¿no? Esto es el concepto fundacional de la blockchain, ¿sí?
Hello, I'm Don Tapscott, and I've spent my career studying how digital technologies can transform our lives. I've written a lot of books about this, 16 in total, such as The Digital Economy and also Wikinomics, How Mass Collaboration Changes Everything. I'm also the co-author of the best-selling book, Blockchain Revolution, How the Technology Behind Bitcoin and Other Cryptocurrencies is Changing the World. As well, I'm an adjunct professor at the business school INSEAD. And we're thrilled to have a couple of minutes to talk to you, to talk about what we're doing and what we hope to do with this course.
Hi, I'm Alex Tapscott, and I'm also the co-author of Blockchain Revolution, which was published in 2016 and remains to this day the best-selling book on blockchain, translated into over 15 languages. Harvard Business School's Clay Christensen told us the Blockchain Revolution is the book on how to survive and thrive in this next wave of technology-driven disruption. Tim Draper, the well-known venture capitalist of Draper Associates, told us that this book has the predictive quality of Orwell's 1984 and the vision of Elon Musk. And Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, told us that the book has had an enormous impact on the evolution of blockchain in the world. It's quite high praise, and we're deeply humbled by all of it. So it's clearly got a lot of people thinking about the power of this technology to transform both business and society.
Wow, those quotes are pretty humbling. So CEOs and government leaders started asking some big questions about blockchain. How will this technology transform specific industries? What are the real challenges facing blockchain development today? How can we overcome those challenges? How will blockchain change the nature of the enterprise, the way we manage our companies? What will it mean for government architecture and the creation of services of public value? And how could this technology help us solve some big problems, such as climate change? So a couple of years ago, we founded the Blockchain Research Institute. This is a think tank dedicated to answering these big questions. We're conducting the definitive investigation of blockchain's impact on business, government, and society. And overall, we have more than 100 projects underway. This is a big multi-million-dollar program.
We also developed this specialization of 4 courses, and much of these 4 courses are informed by the work that we did in those 100 projects. And much of the work that we have done to date is going to be available to all of you. We're also collaborating with INSEAD and Coursera to share what we've learned thus far, and thus what we think is important for you to know. There are many big ideas we'll cover throughout this specialization. First, we are witnessing one of the largest transformations of assets in human history, from an analog to a digital medium. Bitcoin is but only one type of digital asset, and we're going to look at the other 6 types of crypto assets, the ones that we can create, record, and trade on the blockchain. And this ability to trade assets peer-to-peer on the blockchain without going through a bank or some other intermediary is already disrupting the financial services sector profoundly. We'll look at that and the many other opportunities in the finance industry.
Second is the idea of self-sovereign identity. That's about our right to establish our own digital identities. Self-sovereign identities can't be given or taken away by any central administrator. They're enforceable in any context, in person and online, anywhere in the world. And they let us capture and control our own data and manage our own identities to benefit us and our lives. We no longer need to give up our data to big internet landowners, such as Alibaba, Facebook, or Google, just to use their websites. And we can store our data in a virtual black box that moves around with us. And we can sell that data or do whatever we want with it if we choose to do so.
Third is the idea of smart contracts. A smart contract is a piece of special purpose code executing a complex set of instructions on the blockchain. It's a means of codifying the terms of a deal in software. Now, this could be a business deal between producers and consumers, or it could be a social pact between a government and its citizens. What's important here is this: smart contracts ensure contractual compliance. They hold parties accountable. The blockchain provides a high degree of certainty as to the outcome of these agreements. Oh, and smart contracts self-execute without the need for intermediaries like banks or governments. And frankly, we've never had that kind of insurance before.
Fourth is the idea of decentralized business models. These are business models distributed across a blockchain network, not centralized in a traditional corporation. They can be fully autonomous too, meaning no humans involved. There's big potential for true peer-to-peer models like ride sharing without Uber as a middleman taking fees. Owners of driverless cars will someday be able to put their autonomous vehicles to work. So even the big disruptors can be disrupted by this new technology.
And fifth is the idea of the ledger of things. We're already seeing applications of this new internet of devices and things. Soon, though, most transactions will happen between devices and not between people. Consider the smart home. Homeowners are adding smart devices such as thermostats and solar panels, and soon potentially trillions of devices will be connected to the internet, doing everything from driving us around to keeping our house lit to managing our affairs and managing our health information. These devices need to be resistant to hacking. They need to be able to communicate value, such as money or assets like electricity, peer-to-peer. Consider electricity. If you imagine that your neighbor's home is generating energy from a solar panel, and you've got a device that needs to buy that electricity, then those two devices need a way to be able to contract, bargain, and execute a payment peer-to-peer. It's not going to happen through the Visa network. It can only happen on the blockchain.
We've given you a glimpse of crypto assets, digital identity, smart contracts, new business models, and the ledger of things. These are all themes of the modules ahead of you. We're just pleased to be working with INSEAD and Coursera to share all this information with you, and we're happy that you're joining us. If you've got questions for us, then just post them on the discussion forum. And remember, technology alone doesn't solve problems, people do. It doesn't create prosperity, people do. And our hope is that you'll connect with each other, identify your common interests, and let's solve some big problems together.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo andan? Bueno, algunos comentarios, vi que se fue agregando gente. Entonces, por un lado tenemos el grupo de WhatsApp, que se sigue sumando gente, así que ahí tenemos una opción para estar en contacto, ¿sí? El grupo de WhatsApp de Blockchain Revolution. Bien, que hoy ¿cuántos hay en este momento? Recién lo creamos hoy este grupo, ¿no? Hay 39 participantes. Así que bueno, en principio les cuento un poco cómo es la historia de esto que estamos haciendo. Por un lado, salió extractor para el cochito. ¿Dónde estaba recién? A ver, siguiente. Salió una opción de Coursera, digamos, una promoción que dio. Salió una promoción, acá estamos en módulo 1, ¿no? A ver, acá. Bien, salió una promoción que daba la posibilidad de certificarse gratis. Todos los que se pudieron anotar tienen opción hasta el 31 de diciembre, ¿sí? En función de eso es que nosotros armamos un grupo que ya hace más de 2 meses, que se está juntando de más de 100 personas, que estamos haciendo totalmente gratuito y certificándose la especialización en Deep Learning, que es un curso, es una especialización que son 5 cursos. Bueno, ahí hay, ya el curso 1 lo han certificado 40 personas y viene, la verdad, que trabajando muy fuerte, así que creo que ahí es una cosa interesante que nos empezamos a juntar los domingos. A raíz ahora justamente de que Coursera está cerrando esta inscripción, digamos que ya cerró la inscripción y ahora da el beneficio de certificarse hasta fin de año, pero la verdad que es muy interesante todo este paquete de cursos que hay. Entonces lo que nosotros estamos tratando de hacer es de adquirir la licencia del equipo Team, que son 5 licencias transferibles, o sea que todos van a poder certificarse. Bueno, ahí me están haciendo preguntas el WhatsApp, el grupo de WhatsApp sería la manera de estar en contacto, ¿no? Que es acá, acá les paso. ¿Todos me escuchan mal? Porque me están diciendo que me escuchan mal. Yo pregunté al inicio de la charla si se escuchaba bien y me dijeron, bueno. Probablemente tengan un problema de conexión, o resetean, o ruido ustedes. Pero sí, yo siempre chequeo. Bueno, entonces, les decía, nosotros en este momento estamos lanzando 3 grupos. El de blockchain, ¿sí? Que haya una comunidad, pero les vuelvo a repetir, como nosotros vamos a tener que pagar las licencias, la idea es que haya, para que la gente certifique, un pequeño arancel. Y va a haber cursos también, donde los cursos ya son arancelados, pero en este momento hay un llamado a una tarifa plana para poder acceder a todos los cursos. Ahora les cuento bien cuáles son las 2 opciones. Tenemos esto de blockchain. Hay otro que ya arrancó, pero está recién empezando, que es el de Big Data, que son 6 cursos. Y el que está por empezar, que va a haber una charla inicial el 12 de noviembre, es el de marketing digital. O sea, los 3 temas que tenemos ahora que estamos armando en la comunidad son blockchain, marketing digital y Big Data. Y les cuento un poquito estas opciones que les estaba diciendo recién. Bueno, la primera opción es, entre todos, ir juntando $10, ¿sí? Para ayudarnos a comprar las licencias. Son $2.000 que tenemos que juntar. Hasta ahora juntamos 200. Pero yo creo que en breve vamos a juntar los $2.000, sobre todo si la gente sigue colaborando. Así que esta es la primera opción. Y este aporte les da el derecho a participar en alguno de los cursos de los grupos de estudio a elección, ¿sí? Entonces, esta es la primera opción, ¿sí? El aporte de $10. Y la otra opción es la tarifa plana, ¿sí? Las especializaciones de Coursera, que van a poder hacer todos los cursos que quieran durante el año, ¿sí? Que es abonando $3.000 por mes, ¿sí? Más una matrícula. Estos los que quieran hacerse ahora anotarse, si no, bueno, se van a ofrecer como cursos individuales. Pero bueno, como ahora la verdad que estamos tratando de reunir los fondos para comprar las licencias, estamos haciendo esta oferta, ¿sí? Así que bueno, en principio, estos son los comentarios que tengo. Obviamente que los que quieran comentar o preguntar acá por el chat, háganlo. Y seguimos ya nos metemos en el módulo 1 del curso, ¿sí? Módulo 1, vamos a empezar a hablar de blockchain conceptualmente.
Welcome to the second era of the Internet of Value. This began in 2009 when a person or persons named Satoshi Nakamoto launched what he called Bitcoin, peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And until that day, we were living in the era of the Internet of information. This first era helped billions of people around the world communicate and collaborate online. But the internet was designed to move information only, peer-to-peer. It wasn't designed for peer-to-peer payments. It wasn't designed to protect and transfer things of value, land rights, access to private property. At least not without an intermediary, like PayPal, Airbnb, a government, an agency, or a credit card company. And so the internet alone has done little to change how we do business. Now, today, 2 or more parties anywhere in the world can do business peer-to-peer thanks to blockchain technology. We call blockchain the trust protocol. It's for people who don't know each other and with no reason to trust each other. Yet these people can still do business together on a blockchain because they can trust the blockchain protocols. These protocols preserve the integrity of their transaction. This model explains how it's not through powerful intermediaries, it's through mass collaboration, cryptography, and clever code. If you have questions, please click over the discussion forum. On behalf of my collaborator, Alex Tapscott, and our academic partner, INSEAD, thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Bien, vamos a empezar a hablar entonces de la Internet de la información, la Internet tradicional, y cómo pasamos a la Internet de los valores, que es justamente blockchain.
In this lesson, we'll review the original promise of the Internet of Information, and we'll look at how it's fallen short of that promise in several important ways. How many of you were even born when the Internet went commercial in the early 1990s? Back then, we all thought the Internet would level the playing field. Everyone could participate in the global economy. That was the promise. The Internet would blow up the industrial paradigm where power structures were centralized, hard to break, and even harder to change. For starters, many of us hoped for a more democratized media, old media, as we called it, centralized, a one-way channel and controlled by oligarchs. Its users were passive with no control. The barriers to entry were high. The internet came along and entrepreneurs reimagined media as open, distributed, and peer-to-peer. The global economy was also intended to be more inclusive. Low-cost computing and connectivity would allow everyone, everywhere, to be a consumer and a producer of content and services. These global marketplaces were to be meritocracies where everyone could participate. If you were smart, hardworking in, say, India, your merit would bring you reputation. The world would be flatter, fairer, more flexible, and more fluid. Most important, technology would bring wealth to everyone, not just the few. Well, does that sound like what's happening in our world today? Some of it has come to pass. The first 4 decades of the internet have been great, reducing the cost of searching and collaborating and exchanging information. The internet has also lowered the barriers to entry for many new media and entertainment, new forms of retailing, organizing work, and new digital ventures. Outsourcing has helped people in the developing world to join the global economy. But the internet still has serious limitations. For one, we still need intermediaries like banks and government agencies to establish our identities and to enable us to exchange value like money online. These same go-betweens collect our data for commercial gain and for national security. Plus, their cost structures exclude some 2.5 billion people from the global financial system, and they've grown more powerful overall, not less. So the internet has trouble preserving our privacy, establishing our identities, and including all of us. So what happened? Well, It's all about the centralization of control. Huge institutions now control what was supposed to be a shared global resource, the internet. These companies maintain its infrastructure and they extract a massive amount of data from us users. They write the algorithms and the apps, managing business and managing our daily lives. They're using their power and influence over entire economies in society. Many of the early concerns raised by the early internet pioneers have come true. Gross domestic product is growing, but job growth is pretty much flat. We're creating more wealth, but we're also seeing greater social inequality. Powerful tech companies have shifted from the open, equal web to exclusive walled gardens. They don't just exclude people from the conversation, they sometimes kill the debate altogether. Corporate forces have seized many of these powerful peer-to-peer technologies, and they're not leveling the economic playing field. They're creating a big obstacle course instead. The institutional control of our data threatens our privacy. Yes, governments of all kinds use the internet to improve their operations and services. They also use it in quite alarming ways. Even democratic governments use it to spy on citizens, harass dissenters, and stay in power. They can learn almost everything about us from a handful of companies, not to mention what the companies themselves can learn, or what any bad actors can learn by hacking into these systems. So that brings us to the issue of security. Technology doesn't create prosperity any more than it destroys privacy. But technology is at the heart of just about everything, good and bad, in this digital age. The growth of online commerce creates more opportunities for cyber crime. Moore's law, the doubling of processing power every year, also doubles the power of fraud and fraudsters and thieves. Let's call them Moore's outlaws, not to mention spammers, phishers, data kidnappers, and cyber bullies. And when it comes to establishing identity, we still don't know if we're dealing with a bot or a person. But for that matter, as the famous cartoon says, if you're dealing with a dog. Yet we sure do leave a big data trail behind us online. Powerful, what we call digital conglomerates like Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, were once internet startups. Now they're some of the largest companies in the world. They create amazing value for us, and most people love them. But they're also capturing troves of data. They can create value for themselves. Netflix is more likely to recommend a movie you'll enjoy. That's great. But it also makes data this new asset class, and one we really should be controlling. We should be deciding who gets what data for what use and under what terms. There's got to be new approaches where we can access and even own our own data, use it to plan our lives, and even generate income for us. Oh, and also to protect our privacy. Finally, there's the problem of exclusion. Now, this isn't just a problem of online participation, although it is true that 45% of people on this planet don't yet have internet access. Those living under oppressive governments have very restricted access, and 2 billion people can't afford a bank account. How will the second era of the internet help them? We'll answer that question in our next lesson, beginning with something we call the trust protocol.
Bueno, seguimos, vamos a entrar en materia con la Internet de la información, seguimos y vamos a empezar con el protocolo de confianza, ¿sí? Bueno, acá hay un montón de material que... Bueno, vamos a un cuestionario práctico, a ver. Estos son los lindos que tienen los cursos de Coursera, ¿no? Uno puede discutir un poco. Bueno, la pregunta es, ¿cuáles son algunas de las limitaciones del Internet de los negocios y de las actividades económicas? Que seleccionen todas las que apliquen. ¿Sí? No sé si están mirando. La primera, la segunda, la tercera, la cuarta. ¿Qué opina?
Control centralizado y necesita intermediarios.
Este y este. Este no, la tercera no. El crecimiento de los comercios en línea crean más oportunidades para el cibercrimen. ¿Esa creen que no es?
Sí, definitivamente sí.
Y esta que dice la Internet reduce los costos de buscar, colaborar e intercambiar información.
No, esa no.
Claro, no es una limitación de la Internet de los negocios. Bueno, ahora dice, ¿cuál es la razón por la que Internet ha experimentado alguna de estas limitaciones? Acá hay que elegir una.
La primera...
Che, yo les quiero pedir, traten de que participe uno una vez, después participe otro. Sí,
La primera,
la Internet se supone que iba a ser algo compartido, global, un recurso global, pero ahora está controlado por muy pocas empresas. ¿Les parece que esa puede...
Me parece que sí.
A ver. Bueno, muy bien, aprobamos. Vamos bien, ¿eh? Bueno, vamos a la Internet del valor, entonces. Vamos con el tema del protocolo de confianza.
In the previous lesson, we talked about the problems of the internet as it currently stands. This time we'll talk about the search for a solution to those problems. The search for what we're calling the trust protocol. Internet pioneers have been working with cryptography since 1981. But no matter how they set things up, there were always leaks because third parties were involved. Paying with credit cards over the internet was never completely secure. And users had to give away too much personal data to third parties. They had to trust these third parties to protect it. Yet time and time again, those third parties proved vulnerable to security breaches. When they were breached, everyone's information was at risk. And also, transaction fees were too high for small payments. In 1993, the mathematician David Chong came up with a new solution called eCash. eCash was a digital payment system that made safe, anonymous online payments possible, even small payments like pennies, nickels, and dimes. At the time, it looked like a promising solution. Microsoft and Netscape both wanted to include eCash in their browsers. But online shoppers cared more about convenience than about privacy and security back then. In 1998, Chom's company went bankrupt. Around that time, one of Chom's colleagues, Nick Szabo, wrote a short paper explaining the problem. He called it the God Protocol. God, in this case, was a trusted third party in the middle of all transactions. And God would treat everybody fairly and not reveal anybody's secrets. God was the ultimate trusted intermediary. Szabo's point was powerful. Doing business on the internet requires a leap of faith. Without the security we all need, we often have little choice but to treat these intermediaries as if they were gods, impartial and infallible. P.S. They're not. So, case in point, in 2008, collapse of the financial markets occurred, and it turns out these intermediaries were not behaving with integrity. They almost brought down the global capital system. And amid the market meltdown, someone named Satoshi Nakamoto outlined the protocol for a new electronic cash system. It was peer-to-peer, no intermediaries. And it introduced a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. So cryptocurrencies are digital currencies. They're different from traditional money, what we call fiat currencies, because they're not created, they're controlled by governments. Instead of third parties or central banks, Satoshi's protocol used distributed computations, many computers around the world, all working on the same problem. Satoshi's protocol set up rules to verify the data, exchange among billions of devices without going through a trusted third party. This breakthrough set off a spark, igniting the whole computing community. And it spread like wildfire to businesses, governments, privacy advocates, and more. With peer-to-peer verification, there's no need for a third party, no need for a mortal, fallible entity to act as God. We're still grappling with what it means to create trust through clever code. We've never had this capability before. So here's some of the things we know. We can now conduct trusted transactions directly between two or more parties. We can now verify the transaction through mass collaboration rather than through banks. This collaboration is powered by collective self-interest rather than one's company's need for profit. It may not be the almighty, but we think it's pretty awesome. It's a trustworthy global platform for peer-to-peer transactions. We're calling it the Trust Protocol. The Trust Protocol is the basis of more and more distributed ledgers called blockchains. The Bitcoin blockchain is the best known of these and the largest by number of users. While the technology is complicated, the main idea is simple. Blockchains let people send assets directly and safely to each other without going through a bank, a credit card company, a PayPal, or a big social media company. Rather than the internet of information, it's the internet of value. It's also a platform for everyone to know what is true, at least with regard to structured information and assets. At its most basic, blockchain is open source code. Anyone can download it for free, run it, and use it to develop new tools for managing transactions online. And because anyone can develop it, it holds so much potential. It can be the basis for countless new applications, many we haven't even thought of yet. Their capabilities could transform just about everything. In the next few videos, we'll dig a little deeper into what a blockchain is and exactly how and why it works.
Bien, seguimos.
Previously, we talked about the need for a trust protocol. This time, we'll talk about how the blockchain meets that need. Big banks and some governments are using blockchains to revolutionize how they store information and conduct transactions. There are many reasons to do this, including faster speed, lower costs, greater security, fewer errors. Blockchain also eliminates central points of attack and failure. None of these reasons requires cryptocurrency per se. However, many important blockchains are based on Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin model. And here's how they work. Bitcoin or other digital currency isn't saved in a file somewhere. Instead, it's represented by transactions recorded on a blockchain. Think of it as a global ledger. Each Bitcoin transaction entered on it is verified by a large peer-to-peer network. Each blockchain is distributed. That means it runs on computers provided by volunteers around the world. It also means there's no central database to hack. It doesn't mean all distributed ledgers are blockchains. A distributed ledger is a database existing in many places with many people using it. Not all distributed ledgers have the encryption and verification standards of a blockchain. A blockchain is a specific type of distributed ledger, just as a square is a specific type of rectangle. The blockchain is public. It's open source code. It's a protocol, not a product. And anyone can view it at any time because it's located on the network, not inside a single institution. And the blockchain has heavy-duty encryption using public and private keys. Think of it like the two-key system to access a safety deposit box. Unlike Target or Home Depot, there are no weak firewalls to attack. Unlike it, Morgan Stanley or the US federal government, there are no untrustworthy staffers to steal secrets. Every 10 minutes, kind of like the heartbeat of the internet, all transactions conducted on the Bitcoin network are verified, cleared, and stored in a block. The block is linked to the preceding block and to the block before it, creating a chain of blocks. Each block must refer to the preceding block to be valid. The structure permanently timestamps and stores exchanges of value, and it prevents anyone from altering the ledger. This validation process makes theft impossible by any practical measure. If you wanted to steal a Bitcoin, you'd have to rewrite the coin's entire history on the blockchain. What's more, you'd have to do it without being detected by millions of other people working on it. And, well, that's practically impossible. Some scholars say capitalism was able to thrive because of the invention of double-entry bookkeeping. It's a system where a credit in one account always matches a debit in another. Well, blockchain, a worldwide ledger of value, goes much further. We can program a blockchain to record virtually everything, or anything of value and importance. Not only payments and profits, but birth and death certificates, marriage licenses, deeds, titles of ownership, educational degrees. Beyond financial accounts, it can also track votes, medical procedures, insurance claims, and even the origins of every ingredient in a meal. It can track anything that we can express in code. What's more, it verifies these records in near real time. Soon billions of smart things in the physical world will be communicating with each other. They'll be sensing and responding to conditions through sensors, but they'll also be able to do transactions. They'll be buying their own electricity and sharing important data, doing everything from protecting our environment to managing our health. So this Internet of Everything needs a trustworthy ledger for everything. In the next lesson, we'll look at how that trust is established.
Acá tenemos otro cuestionario. A ver. ¿Cuáles son algunos de los desafíos asociados con los pagos online usando tarjetas de crédito? Hay que seleccionar todos los que correspondan.
Hola. Hola, puede ser A, la primera.
Pagando con tarjeta de crédito en internet nunca es completamente seguro. ¿Están de acuerdo con esa? ¿La marcamos?
Sí, sí. Yo creo que son todas.
¿Quién dice que cree que son todas? Iván.
Yo, Iván.
¿Cómo andas, Iván? Iván, vos sos el de que estaba trabajando en Techín, ¿no?
Sí, sí, todavía. De
¿Cómo
hecho,
andas, querido?
estoy aquí en la planta. No, todo bien, todo bien.
¿Terminaste la especialización en Deep Learning?
No, no pude, vale, no pude.
Bueno, te esperamos, ¿eh?
Sí, sí, eso lo retomo ya en cualquier momento. No te preocupes.
Bueno, las transacciones, digamos, las tasas de las transacciones, los aranceles son muy altos para pagos pequeños. Los usuarios tienen que dar sus datos personales a terceras partes, que siempre son vulnerables a fallas de seguridad, y excluye a miles de millones de gente que está no bancarizada de la economía global. ¿Están todos de acuerdo? Todas. Cecilia, ¿qué tal? Bueno, ahora la pregunta es, ¿quién es el autor del artículo de investigación en el año 2008 describiendo un protocolo para un sistema de pagos punto electrónico, ¿no? Incluyendo una criptomoneda llamada Bitcoin?
Nakamoto.
Nakamoto, que no sabemos quién es, si es uno, varios o quién fue ese, ¿no?
Sí.
¿Cuál es la relación entre Bitcoin y blockchain?
Bitcoin usa blockchain para sus transacciones.
Ah, 1, 2, 3 o 4, Marco.
Es una moneda Bitcoin, pero... La 3.
4. La 4.
A ver.
La 3 también.
La 3.
La 2, la 2.
La 2, sí, la 2.
En principio, una blockchain es...
Inmutable.
Distribuida.
¿Llama?
Up and on. No sé qué significa eso.
Que le voy agregando.
Ah, sí.
¿Aprobamos o no?
Sí.
Sí, ¿no?
Sí.
Bueno. Seguimos.
What excited you about blockchain? What really drew you to this technology?
Blockchain has three characteristics that I find particularly interesting. First is its security. Web 2.0 was built originally to share academic information between universities, educational institutions. It wasn't really built for running our entire economy and all of the businesses on top of that. So security is one. The second is efficiency. So when we have common infrastructure underlying, it's then easy to make business agreements on top, and it actually gives more accessibility to different companies which want to come on the same business protocol. And the third is collaboration and coordination mechanisms. Everyone's heard a lot about tokenization. There's many different incentives and crypto economics that we can build in to actually program humans in the workforce to work together more collaboratively.
Blockchain is really exciting to us at FedEx because we've always been about custodial chains. We really invented the systems that created tracking that the world has come to depend on at scale. The reason blockchain is so exciting is because it allows us to extend those custodial chains outside of our possession of a shipment, all the way back to its origin at manufacture and all the way through to the end consumption of that in a complete supply chain.
Bueno, después de estos pequeños comentarios de usuarios, digamos, vamos a empezar cómo generar confianza en la era digital.
Welcome back. In this video, we'll discuss how to establish trust in the digital age. First, let's nail down what we mean by trust. Trust in business is the expectation that the other party will act with integrity. And integrity boils down to these 4 values: honesty, consideration, accountability, and transparency. Honesty is not just an ethical issue, it's an economic one. Communication is the key to creating trusting relationships within employees, partners, customers, shareholders, and the public. When a person or an organization makes a statement, it must be truthful, accurate, and complete. Honesty also means no lying through omission. And it means not trying to hide ugly facts in a maze of other facts and figures. Honesty demands you be upfront. Second, consideration means that in any transaction, all parties care about the others and will operate in good faith. Trust requires a genuine respect for the interests of the other parties so that everyone can operate with goodwill. If I'm negotiating with you, I actually care that you get something out of the deal. Accountability means making clear commitments and sticking with them. Individuals and organizations must show they keep their promises and own up to any that they've broken. Everyone involved should be able to verify this, and outside experts should be able to do so as well, not passing the buck and no playing in the blame game. And finally, transparency means operating out in the open, in the light of day. If you're wondering what the other party is hiding, that's a sign of poor transparency. And poor transparency leads to distrust. Of course, companies have the right to guard their trade secrets and other kinds of private information. But there are things that we need to know as customers, shareholders, employees, and so on, for us to make smart decisions. And we shouldn't have to fight for this information tooth and nail. Being open is very important. To quote from a previous book of mine, corporations can undress for success. As we speak, trust in business and other institutions is at an all-time low. The public relations company Edelman, in their 2018 Trust Barometer, it shows trust in institutions has taken a staggering hit in the last period. In the United States, faith in government fell 14 points to 33%. Business, media, and NGOs also suffered drops of 10 to 20 points. Although technology is the most trusted industry, social media companies like Facebook and Twitter have been used to manipulate public opinion. And that erodes trust in those services too. But it also endangers our trust in each other. For the first time, media, the fourth estate, is now the least trusted institution globally. In 22 out of the 28 countries Edelman surveyed, people distrust media. Nearly 7 in 10 people worry about fake news being used as a weapon. Traditionally, trust in transactions came from individuals or groups acting with integrity. We did business face-to-face with people we knew. Now we often can't know who we're doing business with online, let alone whether or not people have integrity. So we've come to rely on third parties to vouch for strangers. Not only that, but third parties also record transactions and do everything behind the scenes to make online commerce work. These intermediaries can be banks, governments, or businesses like PayPal, Uber, or Apple. And when they get involved, they charge for their involvement. They get a piece of the action. Now with blockchain, trust doesn't need to be established only by a third party. And smart third parties can use blockchain to build new levels of trust. With blockchain, trust comes from the network itself. Instead of simply trusting a middleman institution, we can trust the blockchain code. The way that the blockchain is built means all parties in the system, not just the ones involved in the transaction, come to agreement on what the facts are. And once they agree, a new block is added. The transaction becomes a solid fact and part of the blockchain's history. The ledger itself is what the trust is built on. Now, to be clear, the trust we're talking about refers to buying and selling goods and services, not trust in all business affairs. Still, a solid foundation of trust can create a more secure and trustworthy world. By conducting transactions on the blockchain, companies might enjoy a bump in share price because their business is above board and verified. Shareholders will come to expect all publicly traded firms to run their businesses, their treasuries on blockchain. Citizens will expect the same of government organizations, their taxes paid for. With this transparency, investors will be able to see whether a CEO really deserves a fat bonus. For smart contracts, parties will keep their promises automatically. Voters will also be able to see whether their representatives are acting with fiscal integrity. The transparency and trust built into blockchain will start to rebuild the trust in our institutions. In our next lesson, we'll take a closer look at exactly how transactions happen on a blockchain and what happens behind the scenes to make it work. To learn more on achieving trust, see the first chapter of Blockchain Revolution. And if you have questions, please post them to the discussion forum. We'd love to hear from you.
Bueno, hay un montón de material, después la idea es meter todo esto en un drive y compartirlo. Bueno, a ver. ¿Cuál de las siguientes es verdadera acerca de la confianza en los negocios? Vi que están participando en el, ¿cómo se llama? En el canal de YouTube. Así que lo voy a mirar. Pero el problema es que va un poquito más atrasado, ¿no? La primera dice Omar Cárdenas. La confianza es la expectativa que la otra parte va a actuar con integridad. La 3 dice Juan Pablo Farlat. Por primera vez, en los medios son una institución globalmente poco confiable. Dice, para conducir negocios online, tenemos que confiar en terceras partes que garantizan la integridad de extraños. Bien, ¿están de acuerdo? La 1, la 3 y la 4. Bueno, con tecnología blockchain necesitamos una tercera parte para establecer confianza cuando compramos o vendemos bienes o servicios. ¿Verdadero o falso?
Falso.
Falso. Bien. Bueno, seguimos. ¿Cómo trabaja la blockchain?
Welcome back. In this lesson, we'll take a step-by-step look at how blockchain works in an online transaction. The first step is creating a transaction message and sending it to the blockchain. Say I want to buy a piece of artwork, maybe a painting I saw in an online gallery. To buy it, I would open my wallet app, say, for example, a Bitcoin wallet. Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency. There are others I could use, but I'll keep things simple and go with Bitcoin. With my Bitcoin wallet, I create a message specifying the amount of Bitcoin I want to send to buy the painting. I enter the gallery's public key as where I'm sending that Bitcoin to. Then I use my private key to sign the message, verifying that it's me who's sending it. This two-step process is called public key cryptography, and we'll talk more about that in upcoming lessons. Before I send the message, I double-check all the fields. Unlike other payment methods, there's no way to reverse a Bitcoin transaction once it's made. And I broadcast the message to the entire network of computers running the full Bitcoin blockchain. This is where the blockchain works behind the scenes. The computers connected to the blockchain network are known as nodes. Some nodes donate their processing power to solve a math problem associated with a new block. The Bitcoin community calls these people miners, but it's actually the computers doing all the work. There's no skill involved. Each miner runs the blockchain software like a utility function in the background of their computer. Serious miners invest in high-grade and specialized computers to boost their efficiency, but anyone with a computer can do it. Other than the equipment, the software makes mining a level playing field. The math problem itself is untouched by human hands. Not all nodes are mining, however. Most of the nodes on the Bitcoin network simply verify data. They send it to peer connections. So for my art purchase, the network verifies two pieces of data. One, that I have the amount of Bitcoin I want to send, and two, that it was actually me, Don Tapstad, who authorized the transaction. Then it recognizes my message as a transaction. Once that happens, miners race to order and record the new transactions into a block of data. And each block has to include the digest or hash of the previous block of transactions. A hash is kind of like a fingerprint for a block. It identifies the block and its contents, and it's always unique. In making a new block, the software attaches the hash to a random number called the nonce. Miners race to figure it out. The resulting block hash is a complex number with a certain number of zeros at the front of it. Even with all the computers working to solve the problem, it takes about 10 minutes to complete. These computers or nodes have to try different nonces until they stumble upon the right value. It's like winning the lottery, but there's no skill involved. You can increase your chances by using more better equipment, as I mentioned. Or you can take another time-honored way of playing the lottery pool. Some people pool their nodes with other nodes, like co-workers at an office, buying lottery tickets together. Then if one of those nodes wins, they all split the reward. So winning is a matter of luck, processing power, and the size of your mining pool. Before we continue, let's not lose sight of my transaction. Right now, it's still on the Bitcoin network, but it hasn't been recorded as a block on the chain yet. It's still being ordered, with all the other transactions in the network. The Bitcoin network's total processing power is called the hash rate. The higher a network's hash rate, the more difficult it is to find the right nodes. When a miner finds a hash with the correct number of zeros, it shares its proof of work with other miners on the network. Proof of work is a record of the computations it took to find the nodes. Along with transactions, this gets included in the new block. Using proof of work to reach consensus in the network is the other big breakthrough in distributed computing. The other miners accept the block by beginning work on the next block, which has to include the hash of the newly made block, and so on. When everyone has accepted the block solution, the winning miner receives a set quantity of new Bitcoins as a reward. The Bitcoin protocols mint the coins and send them to the miner automatically. Then the hash block is added to the chain. Finally, we get to completing the transaction. Within 10 minutes of my original message, the art gallery and I each receive a confirmation. Done deal. My transaction creates what's referred to as unspent transaction output. This means the gallery can spend it by doing just what I did, sending a message, specifying the amount to send and the address of the recipient, and then authorizing the transaction with their private key. If the artist knew both my public key and the gallery's, she could see that the deal went through and how much I paid. That's why we call it a public ledger. All transactions are transparent, but it's also pseudonymous. Anyone can see my address and the gallery's, but there are no names attached. You have to know those names separately to know what you're looking at. Meanwhile, while the artist readies my painting for delivery, more transactions are underway using Bitcoin, and more blocks are being added to the Bitcoin blockchain. Going forward, if you want to see a record of my purchase, it will still be there on the blockchain, verified and unchangeable. And every subsequent block only confirms my purchase. That all sounds a bit complicated, but from the point of view of the artist or me, the buyer, it was simple and easy as pie. Or it was a piece of cake if you come out that way on the pie versus cake debate.
Bien. Bueno, esta es una primera semana muy introductoria, pero por lo menos vimos los conceptos básicos. Nos quedan un par de videos, pero ya estamos terminando. Ah, acá hay una demo que les quería mostrar, que les puedo pasar el link, que está buena.
Pasalo en el grupo de WhatsApp, Ariel.
Sí.
Gracias.
Bueno, acá tiene una demo, se nos puede mirar, ¿no? Es un poquito larga, así que se la dejo para que la miren, ¿sí? Acá hay una... Bien, ¿cómo trabaja la blockchain? Vamos a otro cuestionario. ¿Querés comprar usando Bitcoin? ¿Cómo se usa tu clave privada como parte del proceso?
Cadena de bloque, billetera, y ahí va el Bitcoin.
1, 2, 3 o 4.
Sí, en inglés me...
Todas no, una sola puedo elegir. La 3 dice Juan Pablo Ferlat. Los nodos dentro de la blockchain usan la clave privada para generar el nonce. ¿Ustedes están de acuerdo con eso? El nonce es un numerito que uno va cambiando aleatoriamente para cambiar el contenido del bloque. Y en función de eso cambia el hash. Y yo lo que quiero es justamente que ese código tenga una determinada condición, que sea menor que tantos ceros. ¿Les parece a ustedes?
No, los que producen el nonce son los mineros al resolver el problema matemático, no los nodos.
¿Usamos la clave privada o no la clave? Bueno, los mineros son nodos también, ¿no? Pero ¿usamos la clave privada para resolver el nonce? La B, ¿no? Esto tiene más pinta, ¿sí? Dentro de tu billetera, tu clave privada se usa para firmar digitalmente el mensaje saliente.
Sí, eso sí.
Sí, es cierto. Sí.
Cuando la transacción, digamos, se envía a la red, ¿no? A toda la red, ¿qué dos piezas de datos verifica la red? ¿Qué les parece a ustedes que se tiene que cumplir? Que el que envía...
La 4, el que autorizar la transacción y con el que envía con la autoriza la transacción.
Correcto. La 2 y la 4, entonces.
Sí.
Ahí,
Sí, te escucho.
Sí, está bien la 2 y la 4.
Sí, pero es que alguien dijo la 2 y la 3 y por eso estamos discutiendo, que está bueno generar la discusión, ¿no? Que alguien, ¿por qué no la 3? Bueno, alguien quería hablar, pero no sigo hablando. Bueno, ¿cuál de los siguientes elementos se incluye en un bloque? ¿Cecilia? Ahora sí, Cecilia.
La 3.
El nonce. El hash del bloque previo.
Hash, sí.
El hash.
Y el monto, el monto de la transacción, ¿no sería la 2? ¿La transacción?
El proceso total, el total processing power, el poder del proceso total es de una red de blockchain, del poder de procesamiento se llama, ¿cómo se llama?
Prueba de trabajo.
No, prueba de trabajo es justamente encontrar el hash que cumpla esa condición. Pero la capacidad de procesamiento no se llama... No, consensus es el mecanismo, hay que repasar, es el mecanismo a través del cual nosotros nos ponemos de acuerdo, ¿sí? Y la dificultad es la dificultad de la prueba. Es hash rate, lo dijo hace un ratito. Bueno, era fácil, pero empezó a ponerse espeso, ¿no, Cafferatta? A ver, ¿pegamos?
Sí, hay que hacer el curso.
Bueno, muy bien. Bien, vamos cerrando entonces. Hay un ejercicio lindo para terminar, ¿eh?
Now you've learned about the second era of the internet of value. In this era, two or more parties anywhere in the world can do business peer-to-peer. We call blockchain the trust protocol because its software protocols preserve the integrity of transactions conducted on top of it. It's ideal for people who don't know each other with no reason to trust each other. These people can now do business together on blockchain because they can trust the blockchain protocols. You've studied how it works. It doesn't work through powerful intermediaries. It works through the mass collaboration of miners, public key cryptography, and some clever code. You've walked through the steps of a transaction. The parties broadcast their transactions. Members of the network validate those transactions. Every 10 minutes or so, the miners bundle all these transactions into blocks of data. They race to solve difficult cryptographic puzzles. Winning the race means getting to create the next block. To win the race, a miner must find the right knots and show a proof of work. The winner receives a number of Bitcoins as a reward. Everyone's incentives are aligned. So that's collaboration, cryptography, and code in action. It's the essence of the trust protocol. And it's the essence of this first module. So congratulations on finishing it. If you've got questions or you want to get in on the conversation about what you've learned, please post on the discussion forum. On behalf of my collaborator, Alex Tapscott, and our academic partner, INSEAD, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bueno, ahora lo que vamos a hacer, bueno, hay un montón de material que después vamos a encargar de compartirlo. Otro ejercicio, vamos a ver cómo andamos. Problema. Identificar las limitaciones de la Internet para negocios y actividades económicas. Sonia.
La 3.
Sí, y esta no, y esta no.
Sí. Ya lo habíamos hecho. Fíjate en el 100, Lau, a ver si está, porque yo ya lo había cambiado y no sé, segura entiendo.
¿Qué cosa? ¿Cómo?
No se escucha, Ariel, ¿eh? ¿O no estás hablando?
Yo estoy escuchando respuestas. Son ustedes los que tienen que hablar ahora.
Para mí la 3, pero bueno, no sé.
Ahora lo que hay que ver
Solo la 3.
XE, hacer la misma prueba para el libro, Laura. Es decir, si yo tengo un XE y lo revierto con la FD08,
O sea, la 1 no.
La 2. La 2.
La 2 sí. Y la 3 también. ¿Y la 1?
Sí. Oh.
Entonces, ¿cuál es? De las 4.
La 2, la 3 y la 1 me parece que sí. No sé
Puedo
qué
elegir
dicen los
una
demás.
sola.
Ah, perdón. Para mí la 2.
¿Sí? Alguien dice que la 2 es verdad. Alguien dice que la 3 es verdad. No escuché nada en contra de la 1.
De las 4, en todas.
La 4, ¿no? ¿Cuál es la relación entre Bitcoin y blockchain?
La 4.
¿Cuál es la siguiente verdad sobre Bitcoin blockchain?
Yo digo que la 3.
No, porque no es el primer sistema de cash digital, ¿eh? Tampoco es el primer sistema, es esta, me parece, ¿no? Tampoco es el primer sistema de criptografía.
La 4, sí, la 4.
Pero pará.
Escucho, ¿eh? Bueno, si quieren pongo la 1. Para mí no es...
Para mí la 4 es, ¿eh?
Nosotros podríamos
La que
hacer
marcaste.
algo que
Bueno, ¿cuál es la relación entre blockchain y la tecnología de, sería registro distribuido? La tecnología de registro distribuido. No, al revés.
La 2, para mí.
Blockchain es un tipo específico de registro distribuido. Bueno, ¿qué no es parte del bloque de blockchain? El previous block hash sí, tiene que estar en el bloque. Es los mineros. Los mineros no forman parte del bloque. Bueno, muy bien. Y nos queda algo más todavía, ¿eh? Los pasos de una transacción. Comentario. Este curso
bueno, mira, ¿sabes qué?
empiezan livianito estos cursos, ¿sí? Empiezan livianito, pero después se van poniendo espesos, ¿sí? Y ven, no son muchos conceptos, o sea que está bueno repasarlos. La otra es que nosotros del Centro de Graduados lo que estamos buscando es formar una comunidad, ponernos a trabajar juntos en este tipo de cosas, armar prototipos con la idea de salir afuera, a vender afuera, y la realidad es que lo que creemos que va a pasar es que en algún momento va a salir algo interesante y se van a necesitar un grupo de gente grande, ¿no? Y eso es lo que queremos armar acá. Por eso estamos armando la cooperativa también, para poder hacer eso y montones de otras cosas, ¿sí? Bien, probar de nuevo. Vamos con los pasos, a ver qué dicen ustedes. Tenemos que usar un drag and drop, ¿sí? Para ir poniendo cositas acá, ¿no? Y viendo... Supongamos que primero que tenemos es esto, ¿no? Y ahí me va poniendo la descripción, ¿ve? Por ejemplo, me dice, usás la clave privada para... Esto no es seguro la primera, ¿no? Pero no, voy a ir poniendo acá y le vamos poniendo orden. Porque acá están las descripciones. Se va a hacer más fácil. Bueno, ven, acá tienen los pasos y acá están las descripciones. ¿Cuál les parecería de estas descripciones que va adelante de todas?
el Excel.
Primero no es la cadena de bloques que va, no sé.
Para mí la 8, esta es. Abrís tu billetera. Si no es la primera, es la segunda.
Documento legal. Vos anulámelo.
Claro, billetera y después va el Bitcoin ahí, ¿no?
A ver. Para billetera. A ver. Acá puse, abrís tu wallet. ¿Cuál iría antes? Voy a traer una más de estas. Esta, a ver, ¿qué es esta?
La llave pública.
La 3 debe ser de las últimas. La 3, después de 10 minutos, la 3 debe ser de las últimas. Vamos a poner la 3 de las últimas. La 3 dice, después de 10 minutos, cada uno recibe confirmación y recibe bien, dan deal. Bueno, bien. A ver, ¿qué dicen? Esta es la primera, dice, usás la clave privada para firmar el mensaje. Esto seguro que no es la primera, ¿no? Vamos a mandar más acá, qué sé yo. O la devolvemos acá atrás. Bueno, después decimos, abrís la billetera. Usás la clave privada para firmar el mensaje. La red verifica que tu mensaje representa una transacción válida. Después dice, un minero encuentra una solución y comparte su prueba de trabajo con otros mineros. Después de doblemente chequear el mensaje, broadcasteas el mensaje a la red para... Bueno.
Consulta, la 4 no va antes que la 3, porque los mineros primero... Perdón, claro, los mineros primero resuelven el problema y después la red verifica que eso sea cierto.
Los mineros ejecutan el software.
La red verifica que el mensaje representa una transacción, claro. Y bueno, y esto debería ir, la 4 debería ir arriba, ¿no?
La 4 tendría que ir en el segundo lugar.
La 4 segundo. Vamos a poner esta acá y esta acá. A ver. Abrís tu billetera, usás tu clave privada para... Pero falta escribir el mensaje, ¿no? La red verifica que tu mensaje representa verdad. Un minero encuentra... Esto va más abajo, me parece, la 5. Después lo mandás. Seguro que la 6 va antes que la 5, ¿no? Seguro que esto va más acá. Así. ¿No? A ver. Un minero compite para encontrar una nueva transacción. Esta 7 tiene que ir antes que la 6, porque esto es el minero que encuentra la solución, ¿no? Entonces la 7 tiene que estar antes que la 6. A ver. Bueno, a ver cómo va quedando esto. Abrís tu billetera, firmás el mensaje, falta algo, me parece, ¿no? Parece que...
Los mineros
Ahora sí yo,
bloquean todas las transacciones, ¿no?
anulo con una...
¿Cómo? ¿Alguien me dice
Esa de afuera no es que introducís la llave pública del que querés enviar los fondos? Creo que va esa, porque son doble paso. Ingresar la llave pública del que querés enviar y firmarla con tu llave privada.
A ver, esta es la última. Creás un nuevo mensaje especificando el monto de Bitcoin. Esta es la primera que querés mandar. ¿O es la segunda?
Sí, la segunda.
Sí, la segunda, primero tenés que abrir la billetera y después tenés que hacer las cosas.
A ver. ¿Y la billetera cuál era? La 7 es la billetera. Es esta. A ver ahora cómo va. Abrí la billetera. Esta, la 2, no va acá. Así va, esta acá y así, ¿no? A ver. Creás un nuevo mensaje especificando el monto de Bitcoin que querés mandar. Usás la clave privada para firmar el mensaje. La red verifica que tu mensaje representa una transacción válida. Específicamente que tenés el monto de Bitcoin. Un minero, raise y 5 y 6 hay que intercambiarlas, ¿no? 3, 4, o sea, va esta acá y esta acá. Bien, después 7. Tengo un hueco ahí. Después de chequear el mensaje, broadcasteas el mensaje. Esta va más arriba, ¿no?
Sí.
La 8 va más arriba. La 8 es esta. Yo la vamos a poner acá. A ver, algo así. A ver. Abrís la billetera, creás el mensaje, lo firmás, lo chequeás, los mineros compiten, un minero encuentra la solución. Esto va más arriba, la 8, ¿no? Ahí está bien acá. Está bien acá. A ver. A ver. Esta terminó. Recibidita. Esta también es la última. El minero encuentra la solución. Hasta ahora el cheque de... Bueno, pará, y esta otra va acá. A ver, ¿ahí quedaron en orden? ¿Qué dicen ustedes? ¿Lo revisamos?
A ver, ¿cómo quedó?
Abrís la billetera, creás un nuevo mensaje. Lo firmás. Chequeás el mensaje. Los mineros compiten. Falta un minero que encuentra las 6 y las 7 están invertidas. 5. Acá el minero encuentra la solución. Volvamos. Abrís la billetera. Creás un mensaje. Lo firmás. Chequeás el mensaje. Los mineros compiten. Un minero gana. Verifica. Esta, la 7, no sé si va acá o va más arriba la 7, ¿no? Como dice Juan Pablo Ferlat, no bajes a los TEPS mirando los iconos y la descripción de la derecha es más rápido.
Yo tienes que cambiar de primero, chequear el mensaje y después lo firmás, me parece.
Acá el primero y el segundo tengo que intercambiar. ¿Cómo?
No, el primero y el segundo están bien.
Entonces.
El tercero y el cuarto, me parece que son.
Sí, pero yo lo que digo es que este de acá.
Primero tenés que chequear el mensaje y después lo firmás y ya está todo bien.
¿Cómo? Vos dígame, este es el 1.
Claro. El 3 lo cambiás con el 4.
El 3
Porque
y el
primero chequeas el mensaje en el 3 y después lo firmás en el 4, tendría que ser.
No, porque no, yo digo que no, porque la red chequea que el mensaje es verídico solo y solo si mandaste el mensaje y vos lo envías firmando con la llave privada.
Ah, ok.
Este 5 tiene que ir más arriba. Este 5 tiene que ir más arriba de los mineros. Este 5. 5 es este, ¿no? No, está bien. A ver, así no va. Entonces, abrimos la billetera, creamos el mensaje, lo firmamos. Los mineros compiten, pero falta un chequeo. Este 5 sin que intercambien con el 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Este va así y así.
Yo pienso que antes de que los mineros compitan, la red tiene que decir si eso es verídico, si tenés los fondos y todo eso, y una vez los mineros compiten.
El 7. El 7 tiene que ir más arriba. Está bien, pero está hecho así. ¿O no? No. Claro, el 7. El 7 hay que subirlo, intercambiarlo con el 5. 2, 3, 4, el 7 con el 5. Este acá. Este acá. acá, este acá. A ver ahora. Abrimos la billetera, creamos el mensaje, firmamos el mensaje, lo chequeamos. La red verifica que el mensaje representa una transacción válida. Los mineros compiten, un minero gana, un minero recibe su beneficio y después de 10 minutos, ¿ahora sí o hay objeciones?
Ahora sí, para mí está perfecto.
¿Alguien objeta? Bueno, a ver. ¡Oh, oh! Bueno, somos unos genios, ¿eh? Aprobamos todo. ¿Qué más? ¿Sigue esto? No, se terminó. Ah, ya pasamos al módulo 2. El semana 2. Bueno, bueno, buenísimo. En principio, por hoy terminamos. Yo les digo, esto es interesante, juntarse en grupo, porque a veces uno solo se aburre, se discute, se comparte, ¿no? Se arman grupos. Así que, bueno, Luis, tú dirás cuándo continuamos, si hay interés. No sé, los escuchamos un poquito, dejamos 5 minutos de debate libre. Dale.
Esperemos esta semana a ver la respuesta que tenemos, porque hay que juntar una masa crítica, por lo menos.
De todas maneras, la idea es hacerlo por la noche, ¿no, Luis?
Sí, lo vamos a hacer a la noche, seguramente.
Bueno. Bueno, buenísimo. Muchachos, entonces, la seguimos la que viene. Está el grupo de WhatsApp, y están acá Luis, está Agustín Dorda, está Hernán Nazar, así que vamos para adelante, ¿sí?
Cómo no, genial.
Bueno, abrazo fuerte para todos, nos vemos la próxima. Chau, chau.
Un abrazo, gracias. Buenísimo.
Sí, WhatsApp.
¿Eh?
El grupo de WhatsApp, que actúen ahí.
Sí, señor.
Saludos.
Chau, saludos a todos.